two, a one. Hello there, little chickadees. Let's chit chat today about some of the various words and phrases that you might have heard me say in many of the videos that I've made for Smudge Wellness. Now, the first word I want to talk about is a transit. A transit is when we say things like the moon is in Aquarius, right? It's when a planetary body is moving through a specific sign or moving from one place to another. And then the next word I want to chit chat about is an aspect. An aspect is kind of like a planetary dinner party with your family, right? Could be good, could be bad. So when we say things are aspecting each other, we just means that they're having a little bit of a social interaction. But at the end of the day, you are going to get some sort of learning from them. The first kind of aspect that I want to discuss is a conjunction. A conjunction happens when planets or planetary bodies are within 8 degrees of orbit from each other. So for example, say the moon is in the 20th degree of Aquarius and Mercury is in the 22nd degree of Aquarius. Those are conjunct. Now, when we think about a conjunction, we want to think of it like a date. It could go either really, really well or really, really bad. It usually has a neutral connotation until you dive in deeper into the planetary influence and the sign influence to give us a better understanding of how that date is going to go. The next type of aspect I want to chit-chat about is known as a trine. Now, a trine is when two planets are in the same element, just different signs. So for example, if the moon is in Aquarius, but the sun is in Gemini, that means that the sun and the moon are currently trine. Now again, they do have to have at least 8 degrees of orbit of depth. So for example, if the moon is in the 20th degree of Aquarius and the sun is in the 29th degree of Gemini, technically not conjunct, right? Because that's 9 degrees difference. However, if it's in the 20th degree of Aquarius and the 20th degree of Gemini, then they're trine. Trines are always a very positive, very uplifting, and a very, very easygoing type of aspect. Think of it as kind of like when you buy a lottery ticket, but you know you're gonna win at least $2 from it. The next type of aspect I wanna talk about is oppositions. Oppositions happen when two planets or planetary bodies are on complete opposite sides of an astrological chart from each other. So for example, the Aquarius full moon, right? Moon is in Aquarius, sun is in Leo. They are opposite each other. You can think of this aspect as a fight between siblings, right? If you have siblings, you love your siblings. You know your siblings. You totally get them. However, there are some certain things where you're like, why would you do that? We are the same blood, but that makes no sense to me, right? That type of energy where the planets understand each other, right? They know the general type of energy that is ebbing and flowing, but there's something just a little bit off about them. That's why I like to look at oppositions as the lens of a relationship between siblings. The last type of aspect I want to talk about is a square. Squares happen when planets are at 90 degrees difference from each other. So they're in the same modality, however, they're not quite opposite signs. I like to think about squares in a familial relationship as a discussion with cousins, right? You might not be super close with your cousins and they might be on that side of the family where you're like, all right, that is that side of the family and I don't understand you. However, you do have to play nice with each other, right? You do have to give a little bit of dialogue and a little bit of learning experience from them. Squares typically can be the most tense relationships in astrological aspects or astrological transits because they do provide the most learning opportunity. It is when we do see planets butt heads the most. However, I love squares because they help us grow and develop even stronger. Now, I also threw out some terms in this little video that might be confusing to you. The first one is a modality. Modalities are different energies that are exuded through the zodiac signs. So there's a cardinal modality, which are your Aries, your Capricorns, your Libras, and your Cancers. Think of those signs as the signs that start off the seasons. There's your fixed modalities, which are your Aquariuses, your Tauruses, your Scorpios, and then your Leos. And then there are your mutable modalities, which are your Geminis, your Virgos, your Pisces, and your Sagittariuses. Cardinal modalities, all about leadership, always about forward momentum, always about getting shit done. Your fixed modalities, all about stability. These are the stubborn ones. These are the ones that you can rely on and can be a little bit slower to action. And then you've got your mutable modality. Hello, Geminis, we're here. This is all the free spirits, the very adaptable, the very changeable, the very communicative type placements. And lastly, I want to chit chat about the elements, right? And what the elements mean. So if I say water signs, you're going to want to think of your Cancers, your Scorpios, and your Pisces. These are the placements that are very creative, very, very expressive, but then also too, very emotionally sensitive. We can also look at our fire signs. These are going to be your Aries, your Leos, and your Sagittariuses. Very, very, very energetic, very, very brave, very, very loyal, but can also too be a little bit blunt and a little bit hasty to react. We also have our air signs, which are our Geminis, our Libras, and our Aquariuses. These are the intellectuals, right? The thinkers, the communicators, but they can be a little bit flaky and all over the place. And then we have our earth signs. These are the ones who are driven by the senses, right? Very sensual type. We're very connected, grounded, driven, focused, but can be a little bit stubborn and hard to change their ways. And with all that being said, my chickadees, that is the basic rundown of the various terms and various phrases that you might hear in a simple astrology video. If you have any other questions on terms or phrases that you want answered, make sure to let me know, let us know, reach out to us, send us a DM, send us an email, send us anything like that so we can help you understand a little bit more of the astrology.